13,000 pairs of Kobe-branded kicks vanished in under a minute, and somewhere in Las Vegas, AJ Wilson was still refreshing her feed, hunting for the applause she felt Nike owed her. But if Wilson's frustration thundered across Twitter, Caitlin Clark's reply floated in on a cooler current, precise, unbothered, and sharper than any subtweet. When a reporter pressed her about Wilson's not-so-subtle jabs about privilege, about marketing bias, about who really moves women's basketball, Clark's answer was a single-sentence masterclass in surgical humility. "I let the numbers speak. No expletives, no victimhood, just an icy statistician's grin that said, check the scoreboard and the stock ticker while you're at it." That restrained retort landed like a three-pointer from the logo, because the numbers, they were deafening. While Wilson's signature shoes lounged on clearance racks beside last season's gym socks, Clark's repurposed Cobes were vaporizing into resale heaven. $190 at sunrise, $600 by lunch. Nike servers collapsed harder than a rookie guarding the step-back crossover, and the resale graph shot up like a SpaceX test fire. In that chaos, Clark never raised her voice. She didn't have to. Every sold-out size 9 was a syllable. Every frantic F5 refresh a punctuation mark in a counter-argument she never bothered to type, and the ripple kept widening. Ticket portals crashed each time the fever bus rolled into town. Broadcast ratings ballooned whenever Clark's ponytail flickered onto the screen. Meanwhile, Wilson's media tour, complete with carefully lit photo shoots and a cameo in a Molly Obama-directed spot, looked, in hindsight, like an expensive whisper against Clark's stadium-wide roar. The irony: Wilson had once accused Nike of dragging its feet on her rollout. Now the swoosh was sprinting to catch up with a rookie who barely paused long enough to tie her laces. Picture the shoe boxes on opposite ends of the spectrum. One is matte black, embossed with AJ Wilson's personal crown logo, swaddled in tissue paper printed with her grandmother's favorite proverb. Crack it open and you'll find an entire lineage storyboarded on leather, Celtic knots for her parents, herringbone traction stamped with MVP dates, even a hidden message in UV ink that only appears under arena lights. Nike's copywriters called it heritage you can hoop in, retailers called it high-touch storytelling, fans, however, called it available. 6 weeks after launch, every major Foot Locker in the Southwest still had full runs of sizes 7 through 14, quietly migrating to the 30% off wall next to last year's Kyrie's. Now slide that ornate box aside and grab the battered, plain brown shipper that Clark yanked straight from a stockroom shelf. Inside, a Kobe 5 Protro in her college colors, no custom logo, no personal tagline, just a modest CC Sharpied on the heel by an equipment manager with shaky hands. Yet the second Clark laced that pair and drilled a step back from the logo, a switch flipped in the sneaker economy. Resale bots began scrubbing eBay for used Cobes. High school point guards started painting their own 20 on the midsoles. Within a month, the very colorway Nike had discontinued in 2020 was trading higher than Travis Scott's reverse swoosh Jordan 1 South. The disparity wasn't just anecdotal, it was forensic. Nike produced roughly 30 per thousand units for Wilson's debut drop and allocated half to brick-and-mortar stores, according to retail scanner data leaked to Complex. Fewer than 38% of those pairs moved at full price in the first 60 days. Clark's first public release, Kobe PE, a rumored 13,000 pairs, 100% snapped up in under 60 seconds, with an aftermarket velocity triple that of any women's basketball shoe on record. Translation: Wilson's shoes were waiting for customers, Clark's customers were hunting for shoes. And here's where the psychology bites. Wilson's campaign was heavy on narrative videos, think pieces, a rollout designed to teach consumers why her story mattered. Clark's demand needed no translation. It erupted from raw, emotional FOMO the moment she hit a televised 35-footer. In marketing jargon, Wilson was push, Clark was pure pull. Nike tried to orchestrate hype through scarcity for Wilson limited edits, numbered pairs, but scarcity only works when the product already sparks obsession. Clark inverted the formula. The obsession existed first, so every pair automatically became a grail, Sharpie and all. That contrast left Nike's analytics team staring at two curves on a dashboard: Wilson's gently sloping fade, Clark's vertical rocket. One exec reportedly muttered, "We handmade the wrong hype." But the reckoning had only begun. The money trail at corporate HQ was about to undergo emergency rerouting, and Wall Street would soon notice the U-turn, because numbers never sugarcoat, and the cash registers were just clearing their throats. Reebok Pump. It started, innocently enough, as a glossy pitch deck dream, elevate the W. The swooshes master plan to mend a new face of women's basketball. The chosen heroine? A.J. Wilson, two-time MVP, Olympic gold medalist, charisma for days. Nike rolled out the red carpet like it was the Met Gala. Bespoke logo hidden inside a geometric crown. Personalized colorways nodding to her grandmother's proverbs. Even a mini documentary directed by Malia Obama that framed Wilson as the era-defining underdog finally getting her throne. The budget? Rumored 8 figures before you count the global billboard buys. The timeline? The grinding years of focus group tweaks, TikTok choreography, and photo shoots that required entire warehouses of lighting rigs. But inside Beaverton headquarters, the data science team kept waving red flags the size of conference room walls. Google trend curves were flashing like sirens. Every time Caitlin Clark drilled a logo three-pointer for Iowa, search volume spiked 40-1 over Wilson. Instagram engagement, Clark gobbled up 62% of all WNBA player likes while still in college sweats. Tickets for Wilson's aces sold well within Vegas. Clark's college road games sold out opponent arenas thousands of miles away. Yet the marketing calendar refused to budge. AVP allegedly told one analyst, "Our story is set, let's let it breathe." By the next quarterly earnings call, Nike stock was at a 5-year low, down nearly 60% from its 2021 peak. Enter Jordan Rogers, the former head of Nike basketball marketing, who detonated a Lincoln hand grenade read round the world. "Congrats, you clowns, you just let the golden goose stroll right past reception." Industry watchdogs piled on. An SBJ columnist called the Wilson-centric push an expensive exercise in wish casting. Even retailers whispered frustration. Wilson's first drop shipped full cases to stores. A month later, half those boxes were still sealed, waiting for clearance stickers. Meanwhile, Clark, still without a logo, still lacing repurposed Cobes was. Moving twice the unit volume of Wilson in men's sizes dots, so why the commitment to the wrong horse? Insiders point to a perfect storm of brand-safe politics, the talking point pressure, and a C-suite that feared looking opportunistic by pivoting too fast toward a white rookie when a black superstar had paid years of veteran dues. But capitalism doesn't grade on a social justice curve. The moment Clark declared for the draft, resale forecasters went code red, analysts begged Nike to expedite a signature line, and venture capital syndicates circled her agency like sharks smelling chum. Nike's answer? Let's wait until fiscal Q3. By then, Clark's first public Kobe PE had already vaporized in 60 seconds, and resellers were funding down payments on Teslas. No wonder Wilson's frustration spilled into interview sheet. Spent 24 exhausting months filming slow-mo commercials, while Clark accidentally rewrote the playbook from a college campus. And the irony is brutal. Nike's multi-million-dollar hero narrative was meant to manufacture cultural momentum. Clark generated it organically, then handed Nike the receipts like a polite house guest returning borrowed sugar. While Nike polished Wilson's crown, Clark was forging her own out of pure box office gold. And that mismatch sets up the most lopsided product showdown the sneaker world has seen since Air Jordan versus Reebok Pump. The first alarm bell wasn't sneakerheads tweeting grief. It was the Iowa State Treasurer's quarterly report. Economists calculated that Caitlin Clark's senior year alone pumped an estimated $80 million into the local economy. Hotels sold out 40 miles from Carver Hawkeye Arena. Uber wait times tripled. And that little barbecue joint on Melrose Avenue logged its highest revenue since opening in 1976. By comparison, the Aces WNBA championship parade in Las Vegas, complete with a closed-off strip and casino, sponsorships generated roughly 1/8 of that haul. Clark didn't just fill seats, she levitated balance sheets. National broadcasters noticed. ESPN's regular season women's games averaged 1.52 million viewers when Clark played, a 310% jump over non-Clark matchups. Advertisers paid playoff-level CPMs in February, and Disney's sales team quietly tacked the Clark surcharge onto every live read. Meanwhile, A.J. Wilson's primetime clashes rarely cracked 550,000 viewers unless Clark's name appeared. In the promo, audience gravity was bending around a rookie who hadn't even unpacked her fever duffel. Wall Street felt the tremor. Next, Nike's stock, down nearly 60% from its 2021 peak, slid another 2 points the week Wilson's signature shoe stalled. Then Clark's 6-second Kobe sellout hit. An analyst at Morgan Stanley issued a blunt note: accelerate CC's signature, or risk seeing women's category leadership. Translation: pivot, or shareholders stage a mutiny inside Beaverton. Budget spreadsheets got redlined. Advance orders for Wilson's second colorway were quietly slashed 40%, while the materials team received a midnight email. Begin feasibility study Caitlin Clark's signature platform Q1. Secondary. Markets turned those warnings into sirens. Stocks graphs showed Clark's Kobe PE leaping from $190 retail to a $587 median resale. Within 4 hours and ROI north of 200%. Go reported 7,800 search hits per minute, smashing its previous women's basketball record by a factor of 6. One reseller bundled 3 pairs and financed the down payment on a Model Y. Another bragged on Instagram that he paid 2 semesters of community college tuition. Flipping size 11s, Wilson's kicks, they were still available for $149 with a free pair of WNBA socks. Thrown in sock inventory later written off as promo expense on Nike's ledger. Even Google couldn't mask the gulf. Over a rolling 12-month window, Caitlin Clark shoes logged 18.3 million searches. AJ Wilson shoes mustered 900,000. That's 20 searches for Clark for everyone for Wilson and Algorithmic.
Kobe PE shoe sold out in less than a minute. And I saw so many tweets about this, so many people who were so sad that they missed out on this shoe. I saw that there was this one Dick's store and people were lined up around the corner, like camping out, trying to
Slap telling Nike exactly where passion and there for profit lived. And the sponsors who beat Nike to the punch, they're laughing all the way to quarterly bonuses. State Farm's quirky Clark commercial outperformed its Patrick Mahomes campaign. In social share velocity, Gatorade's limited edition logo. Lemonade sold through 3 production runs in 10 days. Even Gamebridge, a regional insurance outfit, inked Clark for a mid-6-figure deal and saw web traffic explode to 1,700% after a single YouTube parole. Money talks, Clark speaks fluid billions. In the silent dialogue of supply, demand, and dopamine, she is authoring a new lexicon, one that leaves lovingly crafted narrative arcs. In the clearance aisle, cue Nike's emergency course correction disguised as a glossy apology ad that would try to rewrite 2 years of stubborn misfires, ass-checked. Nike's crash course pivot wasn't just a corporate mea culpa, it was proof that gravity in sports is earned, not assigned. In 60 seconds, Caitlin Clark's name triggered a sneaker sellout, jolted Wall Street awake, and forced the swoosh to rewrite 2 years of marketing in real time. AJ at Wilson's resume is still Hall of Fame gold. Yet watch how the spotlight tracks instinctively toward the player, whose mere warm-up routine spikes Nielsen meters and resale charts alike. That silent hug part charisma, part box score, part cultural lightning now dictates where cameras aim, where dollars flow, and whose logo finds its way onto the next generation's bedroom walls. So the question isn't whether Clark deserves the crown. The market already answered that with every pair that vanished before breakfast. The real mystery is what comes next. Will Nike's accelerated signature line keep pace with demand? Or will another brand, perhaps an upstart, willing to gamble big scoop up the next athlete whose highlights bend search algorithms? Because if this saga proved anything, it's that authenticity sells faster than any storyboarded hero's journey. And the servers will crash again for whoever channels that raw, undeniable pull. Now it's your turn. Drop baby goat if you snagged a pair. Tell us whether Nike should flood the shelves or guard the hype. And call your shot which rising star has the magnetism to spark the next 6-second stampede. Hit subscribe, ring the bell, and keep those thumbs loose because the refresh that rewrites history could be one tap away.